Hey, this is Steve in Dallas, Texas. It's Wednesday morning, my friend, and you are listening to Light Talk.
And this is Ellen, hard at work on the tropical island of St. Bart's, and you are listening to Light Talk.
And this is Dennis, broadcasting from the beautiful North Shore of Long Island, New York, on the Manhasset Bay. And you are still listening to Light Talk.
And this is David, coming to you from the beautiful Belmont Shore neighborhood of Long Beach, California. And if you don't already know, you are listening to Light Talk, and we are the Lumen Brothers
and Sister.
That's right, Ellen. Welcome, everyone, to episode 490. So before we get started, I do want to give a shout out to last week's episode 489, The Lumen Ladies, our conversation with Kelsey Aragi, Dawn Chang, Christina Gianelli, and Elena Hewitt. And I want to give a shout out to our sister, Ellen, for putting this together. It was a great roundtable discussion on the challenges that women lighting designers have in the industry right now. So if you haven't heard it, check it out. It's fantastic. Today we have a very special guest. We're invited Geoff Amoral to join us. Ellen, tell us a little bit about Geoff.
I certainly will. Geoff has been a staff lighting director for NBC since 1983, when he was hired under the Vacation Relief Program. He joined Saturday Night Live in 1988 as lighting director, with Phil Himes as consultant. The co-lighting director is Rick McGinnis, who joined Saturday Night Live 1 year later. Geoff's other projects include the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade since 1991, the Sunday Night Football pregame show since 2006, not to mention 10 Olympics, 7 Super Bowls, and 1 NBA Finals. He has won 6 Primetime Emmy Awards for Saturday Night Live and 4 Sports Emmys, 3 for the Olympics and 1 Super Bowl, plus 1 Emmy for the NBC Nightly News. His credits also include 6 Rockefeller Christmas tree lightings, 6 Macy's 4th of July fireworks, the 75th NBC Anniversary Special, the 15th, 25th, 40th, and 50th Saturday Live Anniversary Specials, 2:30 Rock Live from 8H shows, the Late Night with David Letterman 5th Year Anniversary Show, and Tonight Show with Jay Leno specials from Studio 8H, and additional credits ranging from The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, Conan O'Brien, and David Letterman, to The Today Show, Studio and Remotes, Nightly News, Dateline, and the soap opera Another World. Very impressive credits, Geoff. Welcome to Light Talk.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You're great,
You're welcome.
Geoff. Where are you calling from today?
I am in Emerson, New Jersey, my hometown where I live.
New Jersey. Okay, great. Well, it's great to have you here. You know, you're one of many of Dennis's friends. We didn't know that Dennis had any friends whatsoever. But, you know, once Dennis became a full-time Lumen brother, it's like, boy, people really know this guy. I just can't believe it. It's great.
He's
David,
been around a long time.
Geoff has not admitted to being a friend yet.
So, okay. All right. So in other words, okay, we got it. Okay.
I consider him a friend. Dennis, thank you.
Great.
I should point out that thanks to Mr. Amaral, who was on my Super Bowl team in January, we were nominated for an Emmy Award, and a great deal in part because of Geoff's work on that show, Super Bowl 60.
Wow.
Cool.
Thank God it was a good game.
There's a rematch in Seattle in 2 weeks. That's our first kickoff game coming up.
Oh, okay.
And where's your money?
Yeah, where's your money? We want to know.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Money in sports. Let's not get started on that one.
Yeah,
anyway.
Right.
So, Geoff, you know, you've had this amazing career in broadcast lighting. How did you get involved in broadcast?
Well, when I was growing up, my best friends, my brother's best friend, Bill Schelling's father was a lighting director at the CBS. And he kind of, that idea of that was an option for a job kind of got planted in my head. And I didn't really do much with it. Went to college, didn't really know what I was doing, but did end up in the theater department in West Virginia University. And, with an emphasis on lighting and technical theater. And I got out of college, and I didn't do much. I was not that ambitious. I ended up kind of waiting tables and doing what kids do when they're 18 or when they're 22. But we had a neighbor who was a a pretty big shot at NBC News, Ruben Frank, and he was able to get me an interview for this vacation relief program that NBC had. There was no freelancers back in 1983. Dennis probably knows. He had the same kind of drill at ABC. It was a staff world back then, and the only way to get in was through this vacation relief. I mean, they did hire people directly, but most people came in as this vacation relief program. So I went in with my college light plot from Three Penny Opera, and I'd met with Phil Himes, who I didn't know, was going to end up being my mentor at the time. He was grumpy Phil at that point, still to me. I hadn't learned to love him yet, but he we talked, and he was, we had a conversation, and I ended up getting hired under that program. So I got hired as that program, and it was an interesting time back then. We had, we may have had 1,000 people in Studio Field at that time. That included everybody on the road and sports and lighting and cameras and audio and TV. And we probably had 25 lighting directors on the payroll then, or on staff. And a lot of those people had been there, since the beginning of TV. And there was a massive kind of shuffling around. A lot of people retired then. Phil retired. There was a bunch of retired. And I ended up, what the normal process was, you would get laid off from your vacation relief. They'd call you back if they liked you. And then you'd get laid off, and then they'd call you back again and if they liked you. And eventually you would get a staff job if they felt you fit. But because of this turnaround and of lighting directors, I ended up getting a staff. Going back just a little, Steve Brill was the lighting director on the NBC Sports weekly highlight show. They did baseball, they did football, but he got the job at Cosby, and I ended up filling in for that job, which guaranteed me 2 days a week of work. So they kept me on, and eventually that was kind of how I got into SNL too, because the stage manager Bob Van Rye from Football Night in America. I mean, it wasn't Football Night in America back then. It was just Sunday. It was NBC Football Today or whatever it was. And Phil left the show. He retired in '83, and then Lorne left. I mean, I'm sure you know a little bit about the history of SNL. Lorne left after 5 years. Phil was not the original lighting director on SNL, but he was there the first season, and he ended up doing the first 5 years. So he left when he retired, and the show went through its thing without Lorne. But when Lorne came back, Lorne wanted to get his designers back. He got Eugene Lee back. He got Phil back. And as a consultant, because it was still, anyway, he didn't want to be the lighting director. He was the consultant, and they were looking for somebody. And I got recommended. Why don't you talk to Phil? Phil, talk to this kid Amoral or whatever it was. And I met him, and he gave me a shot at it. And here we are, 38 years later on that show. So
wow,
that's amazing,
incredible.
Just being part of that history, we could do 2 hours just on Saturday Night Live. Being the age that I'm at, and also some of my colleagues here, we grew up with that show from the very first season. And it was so exciting because it was a live show, that live element. And, you've obviously done other live shows and are doing live shows as well. But tell us a little bit about that thrill about doing a live show.
Well, there's nothing really like it. I mean, our show is I think, pretty unique in just the whole build up to it. So we start the show on Wednesday, and there's a read-through. Lorne and the cast, Wednesday afternoon, Lorne will sit at the head of the table, and the cast will read their parts. He'll read the stage direction. And after that read-through, 8 o'clock in the evening, Lorne will go back with his producers, and he'll pick the show. He'll pick the 12 pieces that they're going to produce. And so the director will come into the design room, and I've had the pleasure of working with Paul Miller, who was there when I started, Davey Wilson, Beth McCarthy, Don Roy, and now Liz Patrick. So, I mean, that's been unbelievable, just the experience, all that. But so the director will come back to the design room. All the designers are there, Eugene Lee, Akira, Keith Raywood. And the director will kind of start putting the sketches in the studio where they think it should play based on whether it's a living room or whatever the thing is. So they do that, and that's discussed. Sometimes we move things around if if we feel like this would play better because I need a follow spot here, or this would play better here, or for whatever reason. But so the studio's laid out, then the writers will come in, and one by one they'll discuss what their vision of the sketches. And over the years, we've pretty much done everything you can imagine. I mean, whether it's a ship or a plane or a living room or a talk show, they've all come along. So so once that's done, they get to work and draft, and that's Wednesday night at 11 or 10 o'clock. They may start drafting the show. They'll do their plans and send them to the shop where another designer, Joe DiTullio, will kind of get the shop working on the building. So 8 o'clock Thursday morning, that's when we actually start in the studio. I'll be there with Rick McGinnis and our amazing crew, and we'll start doing the music depending on what it is. We'll focus key lights, go through cues. There's been a transition over the years of what that looks like, but I'll maybe get back into that later. So Thursday we rehearse music. We'll go on camera. We'll do our camera rehearsal at 2 o'clock, 2 to 3. Go through each song twice, 3 times, depending on the artist's mood or what the director might want to do. And then we start with the sketches. We'll do promos, and then we'll just start with the sketches. And the basic formula is we'll take an hour to do every sketch, an hour and a half, depending on the director will come out. They'll do a dry blocking of the sketch, just talking around basic, almost theater directing. You stand here, you're going to get up here, you're going to walk around here, sit down, talk. And they do that with the actor and the writer, and everybody tries to figure it out. And then he or she will go on camera and we'll camera block it. Maybe we'll do camera blocking once slow and then a little faster, and then that's it. Then we move on to the next sketch. So that same process happens till Thursday evening. Friday morning is when we come in and we do our lighting. We start at 6:30 in the morning on Friday morning, and that's when half of the sets maybe have arrived by then, and we'll hit the ground running. Just no time for light plots. There's no plot. We have designated areas, so things are kind of laid in. But we'll just get to work in lighting, hang this here, focus this here, put this together in a cue or whatever.
When you did the blocking on Thursday, are they just blocking in an empty space without the props and the set and all of that?
We have rehearsal flats and rehearsals. Okay. We have rehearsal flats and we have rehearsal props.
So that's where you have an opportunity to see what it is you have to light Friday morning.
They do maybe try to do the sketches that are recurring on Thursday if we know what it is, and they may actually get some of the sets in if they can. But it's mostly rehearsal flats, and it's pretty rough. There's not a lot of detail with as far as the lighting. Our basic job is to try to keep them away from the walls. So, as most lighting directors or designers know, the tendency is everybody wants to stand up against the wall. And so can they come down stage a little bit? We win sometimes, we lose other times. But,
and do you have the celebrity host during that blocking?
Yes. We'll
have so they're there the whole time.
They're there starting promos after we've done music. We'll do promos with the musical guest and the host. And then after we do the promos, then we'll start with the sketches with the host. But yes, they're there. And then so Friday morning, we've worked till noon lighting. And then at 1 o'clock, we start this process with an hour per sketch again. And we get through the rest of them. Now we have a little more sets. The new theory, it hasn't always been this way, is we pretty much rehearse with no sets on Thursday, but Friday. So they delay the sets that we do on Friday for Friday. So we have sets by Friday. And, and the more complicated ones, the ones that are really critical that we need a set are not only for lighting, but for actor. And it's not easy to block a sketch if you're just in a 16 by 12 box without really the scenery. So then that's it. We usually end up Friday night with the cold open, because that script normally comes in last, and because it's topical and it's maybe changed since what they thought it was on Wednesday. So we'll rehearse that, and then Saturday morning we come in and we do our lighting notes. Everybody does their notes, all departments. Dressing is continued on the sets. The sets are getting painted and And we're tweaking, whatever notes we realized from the couple of days before, or we're trying to make better. And it's a constant. That's what happens. It's like a freight train. We start Thursday, that didn't look great, and it's a constant like catch up, try to get it to where we are, and then so on Saturday afternoon around 1, we'll do a run through. Now it's faster than blocking, but not air fast. We'll do it with everybody, full dress, full makeup, full costume, full scenic. They don't wear makeup for a run through, but they wear hair. And so we'll do that. That takes about 4 hours to get through the whole show, between 1 and 5:30. So we'll do the whole sketches, and not in any particular order, based on, it is a particular order. Ken Imang, our producer, has a definite plan. And a lot of it has to do with going from one side of the studio to the other, because our rule that was passed down from Phil Himes was we do our notes. When they're done with the sketches on Saturday, we do our notes, and they have to wait till we're done until they start the next one. So they'll specifically like go from one side to the other. So all the cameras can go from one end to the other. While I'm working on one and Rick's getting ready for the next. And that's, I haven't explained that, but I usually take one side of the studio and Rick takes the other. That's been our system since the beginning. Is I do everything on the west side. He does the north side. He does the south side. But anyway, so that's Saturday. We're catching up. Everybody's catching up. It's not just lighting. It's scenic. It's script. I mean, the whole team is just like, we're just trying to get ready. And then it's we break for dinner, update rehearsal around 7, and dress at 8 o'clock. Dress is the full Megillah. It's 2 hours long. It's not an hour and a half, but it's basically, it's what the show is. Everyone is supposed to be ready to go for dress.
Do you have an audience at that dress?
Yes, full audience. It's you wouldn't know a difference between the show. Full warm up. There's a warm up, before the show gets the audience. Keenan will come out and sing, or whoever it is that week. They'll come out and they'll warm up the show. And then we start cold open through the in running order, the way Lauren wants it to go.
And you've already been there working for 9 or 10 hours.
At dress, we've been there 12 hours. We're in at 8 o'clock on Saturday.
Wow.
It's a 4-day event. I mean, it's
wow.
not for the faint of heart.
I have a question. There's a lot of great live music on Saturday Night Live. When do the bands come in, and do you light them, or their own lighting designers come in and work with you, or?
Thursday morning, we're lighting in the morning. Also, the audio gear is showing up and getting put on stage. What used to be specifically kind of a Thursday morning thing, it's now pretty much weekly a Wednesday thing. The bands have gotten bigger. Their designs have gotten bigger. So usually Wednesday before read-through, we'll have an 8 o'clock call in the studio Wednesday, and they're building a video wall, or they're doing whatever the crazy thing that week is. But that's the design part of that usually happens Wednesday morning. Thursday morning, we're almost there, but we get another couple hours. That's when the band comes in. They'll do a sound check. We take a meal. My main crew will take a meal at 11 o'clock, but myself, Trevor Brown, our programmer, Tim Sassi, our console operator, we'll stay and we'll kind of play along with during sound check, along with their design team. So it's kind of a head start. It used to be strictly a sound check, but now it's turned more into a visual sound check. Everybody's kind of getting their first look at what this is going to look like. We have no cameras yet. No cameras till, I lied about that. We get one camera. We'll get one camera that just kind of I can lock off as a wide shot, and we'll put it in the monitor and look. But so that's all Thursday morning. And then we won't see that again. We won't see the music again. They'll do another sound check Saturday in the meal period, the second meal period at 5:30. That's when, again, they'll do a sound check, but we're there. We also play along and, run the cues with the songs. And to answer your question about the designers, most of the bands nowadays will come in with the designer. We work in tandem. And that's one of the benefits of this position is everybody's come through there with somebody. And I've got to be, Tom Kenny you had on last week, and Patrick Woodruff, and I don't want to name them because I'll forget them all. But most of them all have come through there. And what a pleasure that's been to work with all of them.
I should point out to our audience, you should, if you haven't listened to episode 487 with Tom Kenny, Tom talked quite lovingly and respectfully and complimentarily, if that's a word, about Geoff and his team and how wonderful it was working on Saturday Night Live. So kudos to you, Geoff.
Well, I found that Tom mentioned it a bunch of times in his podcast, but it being nice. I mean, I found that the lighting community is a good community. They're good people. We're all here to do a job, but there's no screaming and yelling. There's stress, but you gotta treat people with respect. They come into our house. We're the hosts. They're the guests. They act like guests. I act like hosts. We try to do the best we can. And that's the way the show is with the hosts too. The hosts come on. They've never hosted before. Some of them haven't, and our job is to kind of take care of them, and make sure that the show goes on. So it's that kind of attitude that we've always had on Saturday Night Live.
What's amazing is not only the longevity of the show, but like that Eugene Lee has been there like basically since the beginning.
Yeah, he passed away a couple of years ago.
No, I know, but what a career.
Yeah, no, people don't leave that show. Akira Yoshimura has been on the show since the beginning. He's like pretty much the only one. Speedy, our audio tech, has been there since the beginning too, but there's very few people that have. I mean, people don't leave. I haven't left, but
right.
But I did. I mean, I'll get back. I mean, I was hired as a staff lighting designer among 25. I am now the only one. So that's just the way the business goes. But
that's job security. I was thinking about when you were telling us that insane sort of schedule, that your theater training probably came in very handy for that understanding. Like if you ever did anything like summer stock where you had only a few days to turn over a show, things like that. I have a question, and probably a lot of our listeners have the same question. In all the years you've been doing this and all the episodes you've done it every year, and it's a live show, was there ever something that you saw in rehearsal that you said, this is going to be a disaster? And I hope they cut it from the show. It's going to be a disaster. And they did it, and it was brilliant. Has that happened? Or was it always a disaster?
There's always the feeling of impending doom.
Right.
Impending doom.
Impending doom. Right.
But like John Mulaney, when he hosts, we always do a musical with him.
Right.
And the first one was Lobster at the Diner Lobster.
Right.
And that had all the signs of being a disaster, because we didn't get the set till Friday night, and we started rehearsing it, and it's got music in it, it's got blocking, it's got all the things, and we were like, oh my God, and so every time we get one of them, but 95% of the time I'm pretty happy with the way those turn out. They're fun. They're as long as you kind of just get the cues on at the right time, as opposed to whether it turns green or blue. I mean, that doesn't matter. But when there should be a change, there should be a change. And so that was one example of, a disaster waiting to happen that didn't happen. But I mean, I learned all this stuff from Phil Himes. I mean, I wouldn't, be here without him hiring me. He was great. I mean, he started with TV, and, he trained us, and we learned pretty early in my career, and Rick's too, I would say, is he taught us to light for ourselves. Do what you think looks right and feels right for this sketch. And if there's critique to happen later, it'll happen. But just go with your gut on what it should be, and we'll go from there. And I think that's one of the best lessons he taught me, was to just trust your gut, and let it be where it is. I mean, sometimes you're going to be right, sometimes you're going to be wrong. Sometimes you're right, and you're right, but they don't like it that way. Sometimes you realize maybe you weren't right. But
I think on your 50th anniversary show a couple of months back, or last year, whenever it was, one of my favorite moments was a scene they had with Phil, and you very calmly in the background overlooking while Phil read, I think it was Kanye West, the Riot Act, about a performance that he was doing.
Yes, that's the story.
I was like, whoa.
That's the story of the story. I mean, that when he first, well, that wasn't he was the one who kind of changed the guest designers coming in, because he came in I think it was 2007 for the first time. And he brought in, he didn't bring in that much. Looking back at it, I think he brought 2 big lights that he put in the corner. But it was it was something that, okay, we never used to let happen. We do what we do here, and we've never been the cutting edge of lighting. I'm not going to sit here and tell you we've rid the. I mean, we were using 2K moles as follow spots, for a long time. And there are lights in that studio older than I am. And I'm 68, but they're not older than I are, but they've been there as long as I have. And, but Kanye came back. The story you're talking about is he came back maybe the 3rd time since then. And he had this, I'm going to call it like a cave. It was just like with black wrap and it looked terrible. And it wasn't nobody thought it looked good. Phil said, it doesn't look good. Get rid of it. And, that was Between Dress and Air. So you don't do that to an artist between Dress and Air.
No,
and
Jesus.
The stories are, he was down at the elevator, he was threatening to leave and all that. But he came back, he did the show, and it's a good story now.
Thank God it ended
It's all about the good stories.
But Phil had his way with all the artists. I mean, they all kind of loved him. Lady Gaga, there's a couple of pictures of him and Lady Gaga where, she just adored him and Ariana Grande and all the...
Well, he drove the bus, and that's what you need. I mean, you guys are running a factory there, and somebody needs to drive the bus and make sure it keeps moving forward.
Yep.
I just like the fact that he told Billy Bob Thornton to take his baseball cap off.
That's a story out there too, yeah. Yep.
I have a question for you with your 2K moles. Has technology made your life easier or more difficult on SNL?
I think it's made it easier. We had, when I first started on the show, everything, I mean, it was mole 1K Fresnels, mole 2K Fresnels, mole 5K soft lights, and we had no real system. I mean, and there were boom shadows but we came up the big breakthrough in our lighting was we got a bunch of these Desisti hoists and Desisti things, and we were able to put lights on hoist to come in, and then we also started rigging these teasers to go in front of them. So our system was now not a low, because you can't get low soap operas. I mean, Dennis has done soap operas, and when I did Another World, the downstage stuff was all low things. I mean, I could reach them, and you would kind of go like this. You just can't do that on a live show. So all the angles, it was just basically we're lighting soap opera style, but for a live show with a live audience and moving cameras all over the place. So the technology of these Desisti things, hoists, it was a breakthrough. We had one at home base. Now we never had anything at home base, and home base was always a boom nightmare. And the ability to we have four 2K soft lights on thing that comes down, and then a teaser on another one that comes down in front of it, and that's our base. That's the language we use. That's the base, and then we'll fill in with upstage keys.
Just to interject, explain what the boom is for our audience, Geoff. They're not aware of a boom microphone. It's a big thing sticking out there in front of all the lights.
Throwing shadows everywhere, right.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back at the old ones, their boom shadows are everywhere. You'll see them nowadays once in a while, but nowhere like the old days.
Well, you still use a Chapman crane on the show, right? You don't have a techno crane or a jib or anything like that, right?
No, Lauren likes his Chapman crane, yep. One guy on the camera, two guys on the arm, and one guy driving it around.
I mean, visually, it's a cool looking thing when you see it on camera, but wow, welcome to the 1960s. I have a question, Geoff, if you can answer it. I don't want to say what's your favorite, but I'm going to say, of all those years, what show was the most enjoyable for you? Or what guest, or musical guest, or celebrity guest host was the most enjoyable, that you just had fun? And as an audience member, not as the guy who had to make it all work.
I'm a child of the 70s, so, when Mick Jagger was on, or when... that was pretty exciting when Mick Jagger's up there, and so I like music too. So the musical guests are the ones that kind of stick out to me. U2 was on, and we've had Paul McCartney. I mean, when Paul McCartney, come on, he's been on a bunch of times, and even some of the newer artists. When Nirvana was on in the 90s, that was when we had 4 IntelliBeams, coming down one color, and it moved around a little when they started singing. We were never on the cutting edge, but that was so I like it when a good musical act's on, and we can have fun with that.
Geoff, you're talking about Sunday, watching the show on Sunday. What do you learn about your own craft and your own art when you watch the show the next day?
To be honest, I don't watch it the next day.
Oh.
I may watch it. Now with YouTube, I'll watch a clip. If there was one sketch that I was like, because when you're sitting there, it's hard to get yourself removed enough from it to really look at it. And so the ones that I think are the ones that are like, oh my God, how did that go? Are the ones that I'll check out. And normally it's better than when I thought when we were doing it. It's that kind of experience.
You had mentioned that you and Rick split the studio in half when you're actually lighting. Who takes over and runs? Who's on headset? Who's running the show live?
We do it every other week. We have an alternate system. 1 week we're in, 1 week we're out on the studio, because all these hoists that I talk about do involve somebody eyes on the floor. So one of us will be in the show calling, and then these things that come in and out need to be set to trim during the show. So that's primarily the job of the floor LD, and also just to go in there and look and make sure everything's up. If there's something that's not on, at least if you know about it, you may be able to compensate in another way. But
so you keep an LD in the control room and an LD on the floor, whether it's you 1 week or Rick 1 week.
Correct. That's the system we've been doing. Yeah, it's good. And I used to be in the studio, in the control room all the time. And at some point we decided to go alternate, and it's fun to be out on the floor. It also takes a little stress. It's like not every week's the stress. The floor job, I think it's the easier job. Once the show gets rolling, now you don't have to call a cue on time. Rick has to call the cue on time. I could just bring the hoist in, So
how many people on your team?
On Saturdays we have I think like 12. The head William McGinnis is our head electrician now. I forgot to mention Peter Earhart, which was the head when I kind of first started there. It was his idea to bring all this SysD stuff in, and I learned a lot from that man. He was our first one who really started doing CAD drawings. He was our head electrician, but a very smart guy, and but anyway, back to our show. We have a couple of follow spots depending on the band. This year we started using the Robe follow spots, which I've found are great because they allow you to put a spot anywhere. Before we were kind of limited to our buckets. But so we have 12 people, on the floor. We have 2 board ops, like I said before, Trevor and Tim, and then we have 6 people running around. We have game shows. Then LED tape has gone crazy. We have one of the guys on our crew, Brendan. He's the genius of LED tape. But the designers, once they got the LED tape on their head, it's crazy. And these sets have to come. Mostly game shows. The game shows don't have a permanent home. Some of our sets have permanent homes. The game show area. It's right in front of guest band, is not a permanent area. So all the walls have to come in and all the connections have to be made. And, those are some stressful moments too, depending on how far ahead of time they can get those sets up.
You're talking about the Robe spotlights, which I assume are sort of like autopilot type of spotlights, where you have the operators somewhere remote and running it, right? And
it's not
a moving
light. It's a moving light that's operated remotely.
How many operators do you normally use? I guess it depends on the band, right? Or, do you use like 4 or 5 for a show?
We used to have. It's more like 2 or 3.
Okay.
And it's a lot of times it'll be one song. I want the key right in front. Sometimes I want it off to the side. So, 2 or 3 follow spots. We have a follow spot at home base for the monologue. Occasionally, the home base platform, there's 2 spots up there. We'll need a second spot if we're doing an award show or something at home base that needs 2 lights to do pickups. But it's 4 or 5 follow spots, then 4 or 5 crew on the floor, board ops.
So you're talking about the Robo spot system, I assume, that Robe has.
Yes.
So you have like 5, 6, 7, however many of the actual fixtures controlled by just 2 people, though.
We have
or does
two
each
fixtures.
spot have its own controller?
Well, generally we're only using one at a time. It's
Okay.
it's sometimes for an occasional backlight spot where I think it might be necessary to have a nice strong backlight, we'll put one up there. Or if I want to, we have, because the way the studio is, I'm limited to where the permanent follow spots are. So sometimes we want to go a little off angle or something, shallower, steeper, etc.
You had mentioned you have two moving light programmers. Which Trevor does what and Tim does what?
Trevor does the music. He's the guest band, and Tim does the ETC/TI, which is the whole rest of the studio.
So you split that up then?
Yes. Because Trevor, we do the band on Thursday and then we don't see it again. So he'll have generally a good deal of notes after rehearsal that needs to be tightened up. So he has all day Friday to kind of play by himself, with the direction of
and get all that
whatever.
Sure.
Whatever's been determined on Thursday, what worked, what didn't work, what are we changing? So we generally have a conversation after the music rehearsal on Thursday with whoever wants to be involved, and then Trevor will kind of take the ball and go for it. Our console is we have a lot of moving lights in our regular rig. The way we generally do it is the moving lights are set lights. We had still a bunch of VL1000s incandescent, because we're still an incandescent, room.
Oh, really?
In music I have.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. In music, I've been lately going more, we'll balance the cameras at 4500 or something, only because of it just gives us a better range with some of the lights, and if we have a video screen. But the rest of the show is 3200 still. But let me also just say that there's two great things in my head about working on SNL. One is that I'm working on SNL, and two, that it gives me 32 weeks of the year to do other things.
Awesome.
So and I've been doing on this show since '88. So we shoot SNL from September, and usually last Saturday in September through the middle of May, and it's a 20 weeks of shows in there. So I've had the opportunity to do a lot of other things because of that, and because I've done Saturday Night Live, it's so that's been a real advantage to me. Was I never got stuck on a show that was 52 weeks a year. Today Show, Nightly News, even some of the Tonight shows. That's your show, and you're there. Now, when I'm on SNL, I'm on SNL, and it's 4 straight days of work. But when that's 4 times 20, we do 20 live shows a year. So the rest of the year, I'm available to do Super Bowls with Dennis, go to the Olympics with Steve and the rest of the gang, and do the parade and do the tree lighting. So,
wow.
Can we talk a little about the Christmas tree lighting? I think that's a
yes, absolutely
project. I'd love to hear more about that. Like, how long does it take to set it up? Where are you? Who gets the lights on the tree?
It's basically, it's changed. I haven't done it in, I don't know, probably almost 10 years.
Oh,
but,
okay.
It's generally the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. The tree goes up 2 weeks prior to that. We have nothing to do with the lights on the tree. That's done by the electricians in 30 Rock. There's no magical switch there is a magical switch in the basement that turns it on when it's time, but I've never actually seen that. But then it's a 2-hour entertainment show. We used to have 3 or 4 stages, where musical acts perform, celebrity interviews. And it's, we would load in Saturday or Sunday, maybe do a pre-tape or two. Like the show's a Wednesday night. The tricky thing about that show is you never see it time of day. We rehearse, when I say never, we'll do a pre-tape on Tuesday at time of night. And so you'll get an idea of irises and light levels. But on Wednesday, the day of the show, you're rehearsing from, 1 in the afternoon till 5 in the afternoon when it's daylight. So colors all different, and that's a challenge.
What's it like when you come off a Saturday night with Lady Gaga or Nirvana or whoever after a week of heavy duty factory work almost. And then the next day it's like, oh, I'm at the evening news. I mean,
well, that's the life of a staff guy. I mean, fortunately, during the SNL season, I don't have to do much of that, especially anymore. Although I did the Today Show on Monday, so But during the season of SNL, I won't be doing nightly news on Monday. But I do the Sunday show, right? I do it on Sunday. I get in a car and go up to Stanford and do the pregame NFL show.
After that long day on Saturday, they have you do something Sunday morning?
Well, It's not morning. It's 2 in the afternoon, but it's it's still Sunday.
Saturday is how many hours?
8 to 1:30. It's basically 3 18-hour days, 19-hour days.
Wow.
And it's one of the reasons, Ellen, that I left staff at ABC. It was not uncommon to work a 90 or 100-hour week when you're on staff.
This is why Geoff does not have a yacht, because he has no time to get on the yacht.
Well, in the beginning of my career, whether it was my fault or it was a con, I don't know, a pro or con, I never said no to anything.
That's smart.
Whatever you need.
Yeah.
I had a family, and the overtime was where we made money, and put me in coach. And I learned a lot. I wasn't always ready to do whatever they had me to do, but you learn a lot. And not saying no to things you may not be quite ready for might be a good thing.
Well, it sounds like you do 52 weeks of work in 20 weeks.
But again, because you do so many things, this year alone, for example, you were nominated for the Emmy Award for the Super Bowl, which unfortunately went to the World Series. You're up for the Emmy Award for Saturday Night Live, and you're up for the Emmy Award for daytime television for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. If you're stuck on one show, you wouldn't be getting all of those accolades.
No, it's I'm very blessed to have, like I said before, the SNL thing is great. I mean, I'm doing that show. That could be it, and that could be enough. And now I have time to do these other things over the years. And
what exactly does the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade involve?
It's basically a big HMI fill job. I mean, that's it's on
in front of the store. Is that where you are?
We're on. It used to come down Broadway and do it on Herald Square. We used to set up a Musco truck, in Herald Square there, right where Broadway crosses 6th, is it? Yeah. But now the show has moved. It's been there, I think 2008 or 9. It moved to 34th Street. So we have a big rig that houses the cameras and audio, and it's a big tech area. And then I have a couple of lighting positions on it, and we hang a bunch of HMIs. I've gotten a few moving lights in the rig now, just to have specials on things. And but they rehearse Monday night. We start lighting Sunday. I have a crew that loads in everything on Sunday afternoon because the street's closed. I mean, it's 34th Street, Manhattan. It's not an easy place to do a job, but Sunday they'll give us the street, and we'll build. Filmworks used to do it. I'm not sure who does the rig right now. Mountain. Well, it was Mountain, then it was Filmworks, and I think it's another company now. But they build this thing Saturday night. Sunday we hang, and then Monday I'll be there Monday, and we focus and get everything ready. And they close the street at 7:00 on Monday. They'll rehearse the Broadway shows that are on that, because the way the programming of the parade is that the parade starts uptown at where does it start, Dennis? It starts on Central Park West.
I think it's 72nd, isn't it? Or 78th?
Something like that. Yeah. Yep. And it'll start up there, and so that the parade doesn't get to us for an hour. So they use that first hour to do their Broadway plays. They'll usually have 3 or 4 Broadway plays. The Rockettes might do a number. So they'll fill that time until the parade actually shows up. And that's all rehearsed. We rehearse all the Broadway plays and the Rockettes and some of even the float acts, which we don't have the floats, but the performance, the artists will come there and sing to track. So that's Monday and Tuesday night. We do that, and then Wednesday is pretty much a 8-hour fluffy kind of. We run through the script, but it doesn't really have much to do with me. And then Thursday morning is when the talent position lights up. So we're there at 1:00 in the morning, Thursday morning. We have to light the hosts. There's a host platform that's been set up overnight, and we concentrate that on the morning, and then the parade starts at 9:00, and we're on the air.
Looking back over your career, is there something that stands out as the most challenging thing you ever had to do?
Maybe because it's the most recent, but the 50th year anniversary of SNL was a pretty challenging. We started talking about that, in September, the show, maybe even before that, but the beginning of that season was, it was always in the back of everybody's mind. And, the show was in February, I think, and we had a show in January, and then we started loading in the special, our set and the new audience configuration and the lighting. And they wanted to do more live sketches this time, and more than we did on the 40th. So we kind of had a blueprint for the 40th, but we kind of didn't. They were doing sketches in spots that they don't normally do sketches, and 2 musical stages, and a John Mulaney musical, and so I think that was up there. Although maybe because it's just recent, I remember it.
So Phil stayed with Saturday Night Live till he was 90. Is that what you plan on doing?
He'll never get a yacht. Don't tell him that. My God, poor guy. Give him a break. He's got the tan. He doesn't have a boat.
I played golf today. I think I could just play golf, but we'll see. I think I have another year or 2 in me.
Awesome.
That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say right now.
Talking about technology, because you've seen a lot of technology move through, like we all have. And where do you see the future of lighting? Do you see AI involved in doing live shows like Saturday Night Live, or how could something like that be used as a tool? What are your concerns, and what are your hopes and dreams?
I don't see it taking over our show. We have a project going on right now where they're trying to get us to go LED, and we're I'm not fighting it necessarily, but they every time we've gone through this process. It's reared its ugly head this summer, which it normally happens during the summer, and then they look at the bill of what to replace the fixtures with LED are, and all of a sudden they're not all of a sudden on board.
It's like we still have light bulbs, we have lamps left that we haven't used. Wait till they die.
But
ever since they said saltwater dimmers could be replaced, and you knew what a disaster that was.
So most of the building is and I see it sometimes in the guest band. I think we do a lot of things, but I think a lot of the interesting stuff is still more old school, like Billie Eilish's box, where it was just a camera trick, and the camera floated around with the box. And then we did a sketch this year with people falling down the staircase. Steve Higgins, one of our producers, he loves that stuff. And the audience fell, I don't know if you saw it, but they were falling. It looked like they were falling down the steps, but it was just, and the Billie Eilish gag, again, it was simple, but and to see that start from the beginning, because she sends a little rendering, and she's got her hand in it, and so it's all that stuff that I don't see AI taking us, getting too far, but I am sure it will. I just don't know how.
It's funny because SNL is so successful and has such a rich history, and the average person, myself included, would think you have anything you want. You just walk in and say, I need $50,000 today. And they say, well, sure, here's the money. But it sounds like you get more done with some gaffer's tape and a 2K Fresnel than most people get done with half a dozen moving lights because you have a vision for the show. You and your team know what you want, and you get it.
Well, we have, I haven't found a 2K Fresnel, like a mall 2K Fresnel yet. It's an LED one. Soft lights, so, there's plenty of things that can do a soft light. But, we get, the show has a budget. We get, they take care of us if we need something. We have a pretty good rental package for guest band. But we don't spend a lot of money. We spend a lot of money more on time than we do on gear. It's just, we need the time. We need the time and the people, and we're in early, and it's a long day, and so that's where I think we spend our money is on just getting the work done, as opposed to buying the newest toy.
What is the equipment hang? I assume you have like a rep plot. How many moving lights? What's the moving light of choice? What is the rig?
Like I said, we have the VL1000s.
The VL1000's freaking me out. That's like 40 years old. But it's great. It's great because it's quiet most of the time.
It's quiet, but the moving, we've tested a bunch of moving lights to try to replace the 1000 because, like you said, there are not a lot of them left. But they're mostly all start at they all start at daylight. Mm-hmm. So now we've got to color correct, and you never get in. It's difficult to get to that. And then if you want to do a change from blue gobo to a red gobo. I
love it. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm not cutting edge technology. I'll be the first one to admit it.
No, but the product is beautiful. I mean, the work on Saturday Night Live is always like just really beautiful. A lot of our audience are young people who are getting into the business, and so many of them are growing up now on YouTube and with video and doing their own videos and stuff like that. And they're talking about, a lot of live performances. And Saturday Night Live is basically a young audience. I mean, it caters to the young audience, which is terrific, right? So they're wondering, how do I get into this? What advice do you have as such an incredible, esteemed veteran of this industry for the young people who are like maybe 18, 19, 20, 21 to get in? How can they get into this?
I would, just start like I will. When I started, there wasn't all these YouTube options. I would just say, don't say no. And if you're a lighting professional who starts with rock and roll, continue with rock and roll. If you're in the theater, do theater, and you'll all these. I think genres are merging, the theater, the theater people and the TV people and the rock and roll people, it's all like a big mishmash. So I would just like do what you like, what you have an opportunity to do, and see who you meet, and just keep going. There's no shortcut really. It's a lot of hard work. I mean, work a lot of hours. You ask my family, I missed a lot of Saturdays, and but you just got to do it, and if you love it, it's a job. It's a job. It's a great job, but it's still a job. So you got to kind of follow your whatever it is that you see, and trust yourself. If you want to do something, do it, and trust your instinct, and that instinct will change. And I saw somewhere, there's only one place for the key light, and depending on what you're lighting, there's, so just trust your gut and do what you got to do.
Good advice.
Very good advice.
Well, Geoff, we want to thank you for being on the show today. This has been great. I mean, like I said at the beginning, Saturday Night Live was like one of my all-time favorite shows, going all the way back.
Yeah.
To Swill.
I mean, I was watching it with you in high school myself.
Yes. I don't think you were as high as I was when I was watching it, first of all.
Well, I'm not going to.
I was just watching a clip the other day. I think it was Tina Fey as Sarah Palin.
Oh, my God.
And I mean, that's pretty funny stuff, you know?
Great.
When Sarah Palin was on with Tina Fey, it was,
right.
It's one of all those kind of historic moments, the shows after 9/11, it's just, it's been unbelievable.
Thank you for the inside look. Yeah. I mean, it's great to take us backstage at
really awesome
Saturday Night Live.
I hope you get something out of all that.
Oh my God! Are you kidding me? This is great. This is gold. It's gold, Jerry. Well, the rocking sounds of the Luminoids tell us that once again you've spent another morning listening to Light Talk. You can hear our show on just about every podcast site out there. Check out our website at lighttalk.org, our Instagram site at Light Talk Podcast, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our podcast. That way you will not miss a second of Light Talk insanity.
No guarantee is offered regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on this podcast. However,
if you do decide to litigate, you will have to deal with me, Snoot, from the Snoot Group, And don't get it twisted. Just because I married one of these losers does not mean I will go easy on you. So don't with me.
Light Talk today coming to you from Emerson, New Jersey. From that volcanic island in the French West Indies, St. Bart's, from Long Beach, California, from the Lone Star State, and last but not least, from the home of Saturday Night Live for over 50 years, New York City.
And be sure to join us next week when we dive into more lighting shenanigans and serve up a fresh, piping hot casserole of nonsense.
Light Talk, broadcasting questionable Lumen knowledge and humor around the world.
So we'll see you all next Wednesday morning. Thanks again, Geoff, and good luck on your next 2 years. Bye-bye.
All right,
Light Talk.
thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Geoff.